In Denver, there was a Brandon Marshall sighting at his own camp for some 500 kids. Marshall is looking for a new contract. On his website, he says Broncos owner Pat Bowlen agreed to trade him and wished him well in the future. But the Broncos have issued no such statement publicly. For more on the Marshall plan, let's check in with our Michelle Beisner.
While questions remain about Brandon Marshall's future with the Denver Broncos, questions about his commitment to the community of Denver do not. The Pro Bowl wide receiver held his first annual Camp 15 in Aurora, Colorado, for close to 500 kids. And as Brandon interacted with a smile on his face and was happy to address any and all questions regarding his annual camp, one issue he was not willing to discuss was his future with the Broncos organization.
I think it's a time where I should be embracing just this opportunity, just to have another year to play football. Like I told the kids today, I've been through things, and the reward is greater than the sacrifice. That's my motto, and I'm going to live by that this year. The reward is greater than the sacrifice.
As far as his NFL future, we believe that will run its course and take care of itself, and we're not making any other statements regarding that at this time.
Marshall, who was a no-show for 3 weeks of off-season voluntary conditioning as well as their first mandatory minicamp, is expected by Coach McDaniels and the Broncos staff to attend their training camp in late July. In Aurora, Colorado, Michelle Beisner, NFL Network.
For more on this story, let's welcome in Dave Krieger, the columnist for the Denver Post. Dave, you actually believe that Brandon Marshall is in the right here. He should get a new contract, correct?
I do, Fran. I think, when you look at the numbers that he's put up over the last 2 years, they're just extraordinary. 102 catches 2 years ago, 104 last year. There's some franchises that have never had a player catch 100 balls in a season throughout their history, including Cleveland, for example, which is one of the teams apparently interested in acquiring Brandon Marshall. So when you put up numbers like that, you deserve to be paid for your performance on the field. If they have issues with Brandon off the field, and I don't blame them if they do, they can address those in the contract. They can put provisions in there that protect them in the case of more off-field issues. But in terms of his on-field performance, he is drastically underpaid, has been for 2 years. 33 members of the Broncos made more than he did last year when he ranked third in the NFL in receptions. So he's overdue for a raise. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
And do you think that it is strictly because of the off-the-field issues that there is no talk about a contract extension?
Well, it's tough to tell, Fran. As you know, we've had a turbulent offseason here, to say the least. They did the same basically with Jay Cutler. It was not a contract issue, but basically the new coach, Josh McDaniels, indicated, he wasn't that thrilled about having the guy here. And they seem to feel the same way about Brandon Marshall. And, to me, after all these years of covering sports, my impression was you tried to acquire star players. This team seems intent on getting rid of star players. And, they may have a secret formula that's going to turn out next season to work, and I'll be proven wrong, and I'll be happy to admit it at that point. But ditching your best players seems to me an odd way to prepare for a season.
What would be the reaction in Denver if Brandon Marshall got his wish and were traded out of Denver?
Well, you know what? I think the organization has done a pretty good job of demonizing him at this point. I think there are at least as many people willing to say good riddance because of all the off-field stuff as there are people defending him. It's a very odd dynamic because nothing has changed since everybody here believed in him. Nothing has changed since everybody here believed in Jay Cutler. And that was, the first of the year. But as soon as Mike Shanahan was fired, the whole ethic of the organization changed. And now a lot of fans have gone along with the new regime. They're down on Cutler. They're down on Brandon Marshall. I suspect there will be some nostalgia for those guys if the Broncos are as bad next year as they look like they might be.
All right, quickly, do you believe Brandon Marshall will be a member of the Denver Broncos in 2009?
I do not. I think, he packed up his stuff from Dove Valley. He's said goodbye to Bronco fans on his website. I have to believe he has an indication from the organization, as his agent has indicated, that they will try to move him.
All right, Dave Krieger, the columnist from the Denver Post. Dave, we appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me.